Welcome to the news from Zodiak with me, Sibongile. The headlines. Prophet Bushiri describes 3 warrants of arrest for rape in South Africa as character assassination attempts. Police release suspected ringleaders of Mangochi Secondary School Aston case on bail. And High Court dismisses a case in which businessman Rashid Tayyub dragged and the Attorney General to court for damage suffered in Maysgate case, and former beauty queen Blandina Kondowe laid to rest in Lilongwe. My name is Sibongile. Thank you for joining me. South African media is reporting that Pretoria Magistrate Court has issued 3 warrants of arrest for rape cases against Prophet Shepherd Bushiri, who is answering fraud and money laundering charges in that country. His spokesperson from Nyondo has told Zodiak that Prophet Bushiri has heard the news in the media but believes these are attempts to tarnish his image. Nyondo is explaining.
We have just read in the media. We haven't received any information from the law enforcement agencies. But when we read it in the media, the Prophet was not shocked. He was not surprised, because these are the issues that he has been talking about from way back. These are part of the media campaign by some South African guys, law enforcement agencies, with a goal to tarnish his name. And these are issues that have been fueled by the same police officer that he opened cases against. These are the same police officers that arrested him in 2019. They arrested him again this year, and these are the ones again that they're coming up with these warrant of arrest. So, in simple terms, the Prophet is not shocked, he's not surprised, because it's the thing that he told the public already, that he's under a media trial, going through prosecution, and these are just a testimony.
Meanwhile, the Department of Immigration says it is yet to find a clue on how Prophet Shepherd Bushiri and his wife Mary entered Malawi after fleeing South Africa. Immigration spokesperson Joseph Chakwera says, however, the couple did not violate any immigration laws by entering into the country without passports. The couple was released unconditionally by a court in Lilongwe last week, Thursday. More in this report by Winston Kaimira.
While the question of how Prophet Shepherd Bushiri and his wife Mary passed the immigration system between South Africa and Malawi is still an issue of public discourse, the immigration says the 2 citizens of Malawi could not have been prevented entry into their home country. Spokesperson for the Immigration Department, Joseph Chakwera, says therefore the 2 may not face any criminal investigations in Malawi based on their travel documentation. But Chakwera says the department is interested to know whether the 2 used established border posts or uncharted routes to enter into the country.
We're trying to find out how the Prophet came into the country. Mostly our Immigration Act applies to foreigners in terms of foreigners that have entered into the country illegally, or they have taken up residence in the country illegally. It does not, apply to Malawians, but I should also assume that as a Malawian, every Malawian has got that right to be in the country. So in terms of how our immigration law applies, it applies only to foreigners, because that is what is in the Immigration Act.
Passports for the Bushiris were withheld by a South Africa court as condition for bail they were granted in their case on alleged fraud and money laundering of 100 million rands. The Bushiris, who were arrested in Lilongwe Wednesday morning, were freed by magistrate court on the basis that their arrest in Malawi was without legal basis and therefore illegal. This is Winston Kaimira for Zodiak in Lilongwe.
Government ministers have signed contracts committing to work towards effecting implementation of the public sector reforms in the Tonse Alliance government. President Chakwera has since reminded all ministers and controlling officers that they are the lead and key personnel in all government business, adding they should avoid all acts that may lead to plunder of public resources. He has warned that their performances will be based on such reforms on various ministries, agencies and departments, hence the need for all to show servant leadership when discharging the duties. John Pokayuni has more.
On Monday, 22 cabinet ministers signed for the public sector reforms performance contracts, signifying their commitment to lead in the transformation process of the public service. Speaking after the signing ceremony, President Lazarus Chakwera said for a long time there has been resistance to reform the public service, which has deprived Malawians of development. He therefore told the cabinet ministers to work hard in implementing the public sector reforms, adding the contract terms will form part of the performance evaluation.
The truth is that our approach to public service delivery over the last 26 years has been inefficient and ineffective, driven by rent-seeking activities more than nation-building ones. The blame for these dysfunctions in our public sector belongs to all of us. And so the responsibility to fix it must be on all of us. The place to start is with those of us who have accepted to lead the change.
Vice President Dr. Saulos Chilima, who is also heading the reforms program, appealed for mindset change in the reforms implementation process, saying integrity is key in delivering the reforms. He outlined a number of reform areas, among them establishment of a fertilizer manufacturing company, financial independence at the country's sole electricity supply company, ESCOM, and that power generation in the country should be doubled to grow industries. For Zodiak in Lilongwe, this is John Paul Kayuni.
The police in Mangochi have released on bail all 10 Mangochi secondary school students who were arrested Sunday for malicious damage and arson. Spokesperson for Mangochi Police Station, Inspector Rodik Maida, told Zodiak that the students have been granted bail to allow further investigations before taking them to court. And according to Maida, the students who are suspected to be ringleaders during the riots at the school Saturday night are the ones that have been apprehended. Rafa Mozo caught up with Maida.
All 10 students who were arrested yesterday for an offense of arson and malicious damage have been granted police bail to appear at the police station on 4th December 2020, giving room to further investigations.
So what has happened, because in an earlier communication you said these 10 students will be paraded before the court this afternoon?
Yeah, the decision has been changed because we have not finalized our investigations.
So what are some of the bail conditions apart from appearing before the police on the 4th of December?
No conditions have been attached to it. They are going to appear before court if we have finished the investigations. But if we have not yet finished the investigations, we are going to give further dates.
Form 4 students receiving the 2020 MSc examinations in January next year shall not have to pay school fees, examination fees, and government shall shoulder all costs for practical examinations. In a statement issued Sunday, government instructed all Form 4 students to go back in their respective schools on December 28th, and these apply to both public and private schools. The decision has since affected the reporting for first-year secondary school students who have been advised to go on 1st February 2021 to create space for Form 4s. Meanwhile, education experts has asked government to make available resources that will ensure smooth running of the Malawi School Certificate of Education MSCE, which was cancelled early this month. The expert, Benedito Kondowe, says the statement from the Ministry of Education is vague on fees arrangement for learners in private schools and resources that have been set aside for re-administration of the examinations. But Independent Schools Association of Malawi President Joseph Patel says they will charge 20% of fees if the examinations will be administered beyond December 18. Andrew Viano filed this report.
3 weeks after calling off administration of the 2020 Malawi School Certificate of Education examination, Ministry of Education has issued guidelines for candidates to follow as they wait official announcement of new timetable. The guidelines, among others, have indicated that government will shoulder all costs for candidates like examination and practical fees for the exams. While commending the move, education expert Benedito Kondowe has questioned government for not coming out clear on the budget it will shoulder in administering the exams on behalf of the candidates.
I think it is also important that a decision like the one that we are dealing with requires government to make comprehensive and expeditious decisions. By now, government and MANEP should already have come up with an indicative calendar, which is apparently not the case, because the calendar will guide learners in terms of planning and how they will schedule
Nonetheless, President of the Independent Schools Association of Malawi, Joseph Patel, says they will charge 20% of tuition fees for the students despite government's decree.
Some asked the government that if it is asked for schools not to pay the practical fees, but also fees, government should fund that. If not, then parents will be able to pay 50% of fees if the children remain at school maybe for 6 weeks. So government had to say it shouldn't be 50%, but it should be 20%. And that's exactly what the SAMA knows. I think the Ministry of Education just forgot about that because that's what we had agreed.
Meanwhile, Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Chikwandano Musa, says examination timetable for re-administration of the MC exams will be released soon.
And the High Court in Blantyre has ruled in favor of the Anti-Corruption Bureau that it should not pay the Director of Transglobe Export Produce Limited, Mr. Rashid Tayoub, on damages and reputation injury he suffered in the Mesket case. Judge Dingswai Madise ruled that SCB acted within its mandate to invest and arrest Mr. Tayoub and the former Agriculture Minister Dr. George Chaponda in connection to the procurement of maize from Zambia by ADMAC. The two were acquitted by the Zambia High Court, and Mr. Tayoub dragged SCB and Attorney General to court. The High Court in Blantyre has adjourned to Tuesday trial the judge's bribery case involving former FDH Holdings Chief Executive Officer Dr. Tom Pinganjira. Monday morning, the court heard evidence Justice Hilary Potani and Justice Suduzwayo Madise, Anti-Corruption Bureau Director General Renik Matembato Zodiak. 5 more witnesses will be paraded in court on Friday. Actually, on Monday morning, the court heard the evidence from Justice Hilary Potani and Dingiswayo Madise. Alfred Guta filed this report.
This morning, 2 judges, Justice Hilary Potani and Justice Dingiswayo Madise, testified in court. Among other things, Justice Potani furnished the court with screenshots of his alleged phone conversations with the suspect, Dr. Tom Pinganjira. Defense lawyers later cross-examined the 2 judges. Anti-Corruption Bureau Director General Renik Matemba, Zodiak, Justice Reson Gabindu is next in line. Matemba said the state's last 5 witnesses will be paraded in court on Friday.
I will not be able to comment on the merit of our case, but what I can confirm is what they have told the court is what they told us. The issue of the parcel, you heard the testimony of Justice Michael Tembo. So you may wish to look at the evidence in totality, not in isolation. That's how you look at the testimony. That's why we are bringing different witnesses for each of them to tell the court what they know.
Patrick Nkhani is one of Dr. Pinganjira's lawyers.
We've heard the evidence today from Justice of Appeal Potani and Justice Madise. So they've given the evidence. It was very brief, and I wouldn't go into the details because obviously the comments and the effect of that evidence is something that we're going to be submitting to the court later.
The former FDH Holdings Chief Executive Officer is being accused of attempting to bribe the panel of 5 judges who are hearing the historic presidential election case. For Zodiak in Blantyre, this is Alfred Guta reporting.
You're watching news on Zodiak. We have more shortly. Stand by.
Precious things have a secret formula. While John is busy trying to impress, James discovered Tangu's secret. Tangu uses Purity sanitary products from Purity body wash, Purity hands wash, Purity body lotion to Purity dishwash. After a week of using Purity sanitary products, James won the heart of Tangu. Use Purity sanitary products.
For a better tomorrow, don't forget to do the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate every night.
Nice pass, good ball under his, has a chance to win the game. Anyime bwana. Mukugona somesa toni ali modzi mpira. Usiku munapita kuti. Bali bwa. Uno musakale mudaje ubongo akadzidzi. Ubongo akadzidzi nanga mwatani. Fungwa kumuntu une kuchipatala ni batsa mankhwala. Ndenu mali nikamwa numafoka mpaka umagona. Kwa bosa dandaula pakangota 30 minutes zumakhala zitata. Toni ali modzi mpirawo. Inu achindime musasekerere. Numabwereramo. Ndikuti mankhwala amene azachipatala amatiuza kuti gwiritsa ntchito tikadwala. Cholinga nkuti tichire. Koma ngati mankhwala mupeza no mavuto osiyana-siyana. Kaya kuyabwa nthupi, kutuluka zotupa, kufoka, ena kusiza mpaka kugona kumene. Dziwa ndikuti pali vuto. Choncho ndi bwino kudziwitsa azachipatala msanga. Cholinga ndi chakuti azachipatala ndi Pharmacy and Medicines Regulatory Authority adziwe kuti ndanthu angati amene akumakumana mavuto osiyana-siyana akalanda chithandizo cha mankhwala. Cholinga kuti wena sadzapeze so mavuto ngati amenewo. Ndi Pharmacy and Medicines Regulatory Authority akuti tifotokoze vuto kuti titetezera. Pachakuli corona.
Report to protect others.
If there's one thing that all soaps do, it's wash. From buckets to basins, bathrooms to streams, and everything in between.
All soaps wash.
Yes, but Protex is different. Its reinvented formula with flaxseed oil boosts your skin's natural anti-germ defenses by 10 times more, protecting you against 99.9% of germs. So what keeps us healthy?
Protex!
Good health starts here.
Welcome back. Here with me, Sibongile Ziambo. Let's take a look at the headlines once again. Prophet Bushiri describes 3 warrants of arrest for rape in South Africa as character assassination attempts. Police release suspected ringleaders of Mangochi Secondary School arson case on bail. And High Court dismisses matter in which businessman Rashid Tayyub dragged SCB and Attorney General to court for damages suffered in Maysgate case. And former beauty queen Blandina Condowe laid to rest in Lilongwe. Vice President Saulos Chilima led thousands of people in paying their last respects to former beauty queen Blandina Condowe. She was laid to rest in Lilongwe. Chilima was earlier joined by State President Lazarus Chakwera. Condowe died on Saturday after battling with cancer for 8 years. Western Gura explains.
Vice President Saulos Chilima arrived after 11 o'clock ahead of State President Lazarus Chakwera, who left a few minutes later for another funeral in the city. Chilima, wife Mary and some government officials proceeded to Area 18 Cemetery where burial of Blandina Condowe, a former beauty queen who died of cancer on Saturday, took place. Until her death, Condowe was a tourism officer in the Ministry of Tourism but also founder of Think Pink, an organization that encourages women to go for cancer screening. She has been described as a courageous and compassionate woman and a gem of the tourism sector who, despite being a cancer victim herself, encouraged many to fight the disease which also kills many. Born on 12th of October 1980, Condowe is survived by a husband and 2 children. Some of the notable faces at the funeral included cabinet ministers Gospel Kazako, Ule Musungama, Michael Usi and Timothy Ntambo. For Zodiak in Lilongwe, this is Western Guta reporting.
To arts, the 2020 Visual Arts Festival has ended with a challenge to artists to take the COVID-19 pandemic as an opportunity to become more creative and make more money and not as a distraction. The sentiments have been made by the Director of Arts in the Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Culture, Humphreys Mponaminga. The 3-day festival is taking place in Lilongwe with support from the European Union. Maritopiri engaged Mponaminga.
After the consultations that we have had with the stakeholders for the various forms of arts, the key issue that has been coming out is that we compensate them. But the situation of the economy is that no sector has been compensated. And that's the same case with the arts and culture. So it's very regrettable. But along the way, one of the measures that we have put in place is to say that perhaps let's engage artists so that they are part and parcel in terms of our sensitization on COVID. that we have worked with our Ministry of Information, which is the Secretariat on issues of communication within the structures of within those structures that are fighting COVID at national level. So we believe that as we go, we'll be able to engage various artists so that they do something out of their skill and contribute towards COVID, and out of this same contribution also earn some living. We have musicians who may compose some music. For the visual artists, we look forward that maybe they can do some paintings that can help us as a nation to heal from the COVID situation. And one day maybe we'll have some exhibition that tell the story of COVID, how we survived as a nation.
And Jimmy Malinga is one of the visual artists that exhibited at the festival.
As an artist, I will talk in terms of being an artist. I've just realized that art should be a business. I should think of what should I reserve so that if something interrupts, I should still survive. And at the same time, interruption sometimes is important because it gives you a creative mind so that it can help you to be creative. And COVID-19 also offer an opportunity to think of a certain art that can also be powerful to our buyers. Artists benefited from COVID-19, you know. So if you say, do we have lessons from COVID-19? Of course we do. There should be many. These are some of what I have just mentioned.
And finally, Ivor Hopkins is the chargé d'affaires at the EU office in Malawi.
Art is very important in any country, and that's why we support it, because it brings people together. And I've been around, I've looked at the different artworks, and then you see it makes you think as well, it changes your ideas, and it opens up your mind. So we think it's important to do that. It will be difficult, no doubt, but I'm sure it will. Yeah, it depends on when we will ever get out of this pandemic, but there is light at the horizon, and I think the sectors will recover. It will take hard work, but I'm sure it will happen. No, we're supporting this platform, and we've done that last year as well, and we'll probably keep on doing that.
We now go to sports news. Non-sponsored Super League clubs have advised authorities to tread carefully on gate charges, saying exorbitant charges will scare off fans and in the end affect revenue generation. Super League of Malawi Sulam says football fans should brace for higher gate charges, which will be implemented to control patronages in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic. But some clubs feel this will be a blow to clubs. Sambanda reports.
Despite craving for the return of football, fans shunned the test matches which FAM and Sulom organized across the country over the weekend due to the high cost of entry tickets. Super League of Malawi Sulom General Secretary Williams Banda says as the new campaign starts this Saturday, pre-selling of tickets and hiking gate charges will be maintained as a measure of reducing stadium capacity, which the Presidential COVID-19 Task Force Committee demanded.
Most of the stadiums will be operating at half capacity in order to ensure that the laws of supply and demand are adhered. We ensure that if the product is scarce, like the price goes up. In this case, half capacity, there are a lot of people requiring the tickets. Advanced ticket sale or electronic ticketing is there to stay. We are operating in an abnormal environment where there is COVID-19, and they shouldn't expect that the charges will be lowered in order to ensure them to flood the stadium.
But Mzuzu Warriors and Ntopa football clubs, two of a number of Super League teams that do not have sponsorships and depend on gate collection, Collections says the inconstant and exorbitant gate charges will affect the generation of income. Donix Chilonga, Mzuzu Warriors General Secretary, says authorities have to consider survival of clubs rather than concentrating much on measures to curb COVID-19 when football returns.
Much as we appreciate that, on the other hand, it will be very, very much detrimental on our part. Most of us, we actually depend on gate collections. So the moment they actually charge exorbitant prices, it means at the end of the day, it's us, the clubs, who are actually going to suffer.
During the test matches, health personnel from the Ministry of Health disinfected the playing fields as well as club equipment.
That's what we had time for in this edition of news. And before we go, a look at the headlines. Prophet Bushiri describes 3 warrants of arrest for rape in South Africa as character assassination attempts. Police release suspected ringleaders of Mangochi Secondary School arson case on bail. High Court dismisses matter in which businessman Rashid Tayyub dragged SCB and Attorney General to court for damages suffered in Maysgate case. And former beauty queen Blandina Kondoe laid to rest in Longwe. Log on to our website for more on these and other stories. Remember, putting on a mask when you are in public places helps stop further spread of COVID-19. My name is Sibongile Ziambo. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.